Lost a 10K a year client over a date with a girl from Tinder first date. How are you guys managing your time with dating? I had a client ask me if I was free from 12:03, but I had a date planned. I asked them if any other time works. They said no. Would you cancel the date? I work a couple hours every day, so this is common, but this is my first time not being able to reschedule with the client. I asked if I can shift my schedule around, but they just ended up going with another vendor. The girl ended up ghosting me before the date too, so there's also that. I'm just gonna reschedule dates as soon as I get booked, no questions from now on. Edit: I said I had something booked with the client, did not mention date. She went with someone else before I could even cancel the date, which was what I was planning. The Tinder girl was the other vendor, face with monocle. I agree with what I've seen others comment. Don't prioritize a first date with a random girl over an important business meeting. And the client probably wasn't someone you want to work with either. If the client doesn't respect your other commitments, they won't ever and aren't worth your time. No. You need to control the schedule. You tell the client when you are available. I have meetings tomorrow. Right now 10 a.m. or 3 p.m. I am available. Which is better for you? What if you had a meeting with another client in that window? They don't know why you were tied up unless you told them. As others have said, if they're that impatient and have so little regard for your time, you are probably better off without them. This is likely a crappy potential client. So I wouldn't treat this as the loss you're thinking of it as. But as far as first Tinder dates, I'd put that very low on your priority list, and anything that seems consequential should be out above them. I don't even count them as first dates. They're a chance to meet and decide if you want to go on a real date. And I book them accordingly: coffee or drinks. Keep the plan short and casual. Also, why are you scheduling your Tinder dates for the middle of a potential workday? This could easily be avoided by blocking out time when clients might need you. Bro, you complaining that you dodged 2 bullets. You didn't lose a 10K client. You were saved from a 10K headache. Based on what you said, I swear 10K wouldn't be enough to deal with that client. The Tinder girl wasn't worth it either if she ghosted. Really depends on what kind of work-life balance you want for yourself. On one hand, if a client was that rigid about scheduling one meeting and that was a deal breaker, do you even want a client like that in the first place? On the other hand, dating should be done outside of business hours. Being an owner has its perks, but you are still an employee of the company with responsibilities. Would you tolerate one of your employees going on a Tinder date in the middle of the workday? End of the day, it's your call either way. Who has a date in the middle of the workday? You got to have set hours and stick with them. I'm a self-employed assignment photographer. I accept that I can lose clients when I can't move my schedule to accommodate them. It all works out in the end. If the relationship with the client is solid, then they will more than likely come back to you the next time they need your services. They should respect your schedule. I assume you didn't say, "Oh, I have a first date," and just said you're busy. Back when I worked for a small medium maintenance firm, one landlord called about us potentially managing maintenance for his 30 properties on a Sunday at 8 p.m. Got mad when he couldn't speak to the CEO. Lol. It's like, man, just wait 12 hours. Of course the client went with someone else. I always swap due to availability, etc. with the girl. I bet they would have more respect for you if you said to reschedule due to a $10,000 business client, etc. lol. I would have cancelled and rescheduled the date, and looked into transitioning away from the client or passing him off to a subordinate. If you can. I have found that the drop everything for me right now or else clients are just engaging in a different form of abuse and narcissism. 10K a year client is a fancy way of saying some dude who will give you $833.33 a month. If this is the price point of your business, you will likely be able to find several replacements. If you cannot find additional clients easily, then you made a grave error prioritizing a random date over hard-to-find clients. If finding clients is easy, then I fail to see the problem here with you valuing your time over clients. In other words, your post is missing important context which frames your decision in several different ways. The girl is irrelevant. You had a prior commitment, end of story. Unless it's a once-in-a-lifetime client opportunity, then that's the deal. 10K? No. They weren't a potential anything if they jumped ship like that. I wouldn't even sweat it. Drop the client, and drop the data message to drop her. No client should dictate your time. Don't put these girls you don't even know over your money. You learned a lesson. Don't do it again. Why the fuck would you tell your client you were going on a date? Make something up work-related or just be vague and say you already have a meeting during that time. A client that can't accommodate something other than a 3-hour window is a client you don't need. Also, that Tinder date was your competitor and now has the business. Don't worry about it. There was probably more to your story. But it doesn't matter. Put both the client and Tinder person behind you and move on. There's a lot of fish in the sea. Moving forward, I always tell dates that yes, I can do X, but if they understand I get a client request, I'll have to reschedule. Since that's how I pay my mortgage. And I would 100 reschedule with specific day and time. First dates on dating apps are really date 0. All you're seeing is whether or not you connect enough to want to meet again. But I'd never tell a client I had a date or I moved a date for them. You definitely don't want to work with people that aren't flexible. This is your biggest blessing yet tears of joy. Sounds like working with that client would have been a nightmare. I would have cancelled the date. Woman shrugging, light skin tone. Maybe schedule dates outside of working hours so they don't conflict in the future. But if you have to pick in the future, a great so is better than $10,000 a year and worth the risk. Gotta roll with the big head, bro. These comments are wild. Take the date, but also don't tell the client you aren't free for a date. If it's not the birth of my kid, a death in my family, or planned vacation, I am not rescheduling my work. You're too stupid to own a business. I feel like you dodged 2 bullets here, honestly. Lemfow. Neither were much of a loss. The client who wouldn't reschedule would have made your life hell. The Tinder date who ghosted obviously wasn't a considerate person. I hope your next contacts are all with better people. Any client that cannot respect your personal time is not a client you want. They will disrespect every aspect of you. You dodged a bullet. Chase a check, never chase a beach. Future. I think you should be available from 12 p.m. I'm assuming p.m. 3 p.m. for your client. It's a normal time when most people are working most days of the week, maybe if not it's a weekend depending on the industry.